Alright guys, welcome back to another video. I'm going to show you how I made over 100% in a trade that took one day, and a swing trade that it took yesterday before the market closed. And I'm going to go through how I made over 100%, where I'm at in the position, my entries and exits, and what I'm looking at going forward in the stock XOM. So first thing is first, right? I'll show you the position again. I did make a video yesterday going over it, but I'm going to go over it again. All right, so XOM 123, so January 23rd, 126 calls, light size, very risky, right? So obviously the risky part is because I'm entering it before the breakout happens, right? Obviously I'm a breakout trader, so I'm trading based off when the stock breaks the actual key level of the breakout spot. But obviously this one has not yet, and I took it more of a conviction play and a front run type of trade. So I wanted to enter it before the breakout happened, and that's why I put risky. Obviously when I'm doing that, I'm taking light size. I never go fully sized into a position like that. I usually only go fully in a position on the actual breakout. So, and I took January 23rd calls because of earnings in 2 weeks. I wanted to get cheaper options. I don't want to trade my usual month out at least expirations, so I'm not getting the kind of the juiced up contracts. So I took these at around 97 cents right before the close. You can see at 2:59 p.m. and this morning immediately opened up over 35%, right? We had a small gap up in XOM, took nice 35%, right? Like I always say, you trim half after that first trim you make, at around 20, 30, whatever percentage that you usually trade at, or that you take trims at, right? For me, right around 20, 30, 35% is usually when I take my first trims. And then after that, you set your stop losses back at break even. Risk-free trade now. You can no longer lose in this trade. So bang, right off the open, really a minute into the close. So this is a total trade of 2 minutes, right? If you entered it 1 minute before the close and then 1 minute into the open, it's been 2 minutes technically on this trade, up already 35%. And then around 16 minutes later, trimming more at 126 all-time high spot. So this was the original breakout spot, and it was up around 100%. So that's why you kind of want to, that's why I was front running the trade, because now, right, if I was going to enter on the breakout, I'm already up over 100% on a different position. So now I have room and cushion to add a position into it if I wanted to take the breakout of all-time highs. But I did not do that. So I'm just gonna go through the only trade that I took, which is this one. So yep, trimmed at around 1.9, around 100%. Yeah, trimmed a little bit more, right? So I had around 50% left in my position. I trimmed another 25%, so I only have 25% left after this, and still stop losses at break even, right? We at this point got to that exact breakout spot, and there's all-time highs, right? All-time highs above, clear skies above, right? So once that happens, it's like there's no limit to where the stock can go. There's no targets. There's no previous history of rejections at any point here, right? So all-time highs are usually a spot where stocks can just go nuclear, right? So that's why I was really just highly convicted into the stock, especially with a bunch of those outside news that was happening. So that's what happened so far. And then obviously about an hour later, literally about an hour later, sold some more, right? We got new all-time highs, new highs on the day, and I sold for around 225. So I sold one more there. I have one left here, so I'm literally just leaving this to go as high as it wants to. So let me go do this trade real quick. So you can see I entered this yesterday, and today we're actually gapping up around 2%. So the ADR on this stock is only 1.8%, meaning the stock typically only moves around almost just under 2% per day on average, and we're already up 2% here. So this is a bigger move than usual, which is huge, right? We're seeing a lot of big moves here happening, and literally into the close. The reason I entered this was because we started getting a huge push into the close. You see these, there's a lot of volume started coming in. It started really pushing. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take this trade. I kind of was playing it as this could potentially gap up and go through my trigger, which usually would have been probably this breakout spot around 125. And you can see it really did gap up right over that trigger spot. So I would not have been able to enter this if I would have waited this morning. So I'm glad I got into it then. And yeah, we gapped up over my trigger and immediately ripped up. First 15 minutes right to that breakout spot. This is where I took that first trim, right? Obviously, and that second trim when we got through the all-time highs, we did end up rejecting it a little bit here, but I don't think that was a true seller's rejection here. It was just basically letting the moving averages catch up, kind of cool down a little bit. People take some profits, and then we are now continuing this new all-time high spot, and we're still pushing here. I think this position is probably up another 10% from when I sold that last contract at. So yeah, this has a lot of room to go. Huge play here so far, literally within 1 day. So this is bigger than I expected, right? I was not really expecting this to already happen, but it is, right? So I mean, I'm super happy with that, with this outcome of this trade, right? Doing exactly what I wanted it to do. Yeah, I mean, this is what I see here on XOM. I think there's a lot more room to run. If you look at the weekly chart, I mean, this is super bullish, right? We're breaking out here of a 3-year base. This can continue. I want to eventually roll into some some later dated calls. Obviously, next week's calls were kind of why I started trimming a lot sooner. But I mean, if we can get starting to base over this all-time high spot, I'll no doubt probably take some more extra month or two out in expirations, maybe even 3 or 4 months, right? So I'll look at wanting to get into this again and adding into that position or whatever, right? So big spot here, big move, happy about it, 100% in 1 day, crazy. And yeah, tune in again. We'll make more of these videos. We'll get more of these bangers, more 100% plays, and